Hey Hazel, how are you? I'm having a moment where my antihistamines kicked in, so I figured I might as well get this going. Okay, so first, I want to just tell you a couple of things. I want to start with the charts there. Um, but also, I want to, because I like to pick up the energy around me when I'm reading because they usually have something to do with the energy of the people that I'm reading. And the first was that it took a really long time to figure out what was going on, right? Like, usually I can look at someone's chart and the story just sort of pops out at me immediately. And it took me a long time to look at yours, look at his, look at them together, look at them again, and the whole process was kind of frustrating, and there were lots of things going wrong, and and so I can tell, and they're usually charts with people who don't like when I have those problems, they're charts of people who don't like revealing themselves or who are not comfortable with openly discussing very private or intimate issues, and that's why it takes forever to dig. I also feel like you guys are kind of in a very frenetic moment. Like, there's a lot coming at you. Excuse me. You know, like when the sea's really choppy and you can't get a moment to sort of understand what happened and reflect because it's always something else happening. So I keep picking up that energy right now. Now, let's look at your chart. This is your chart with the transits for today. Um, and I want to call out a couple of things. Obviously, with his chart, it's difficult. We'll look at his. With his chart, it's difficult because I don't have the ascendant. So we will do our best. But please note that when we switch over to his chart, you can't pay attention to any of the houses because they're not real. So now, first of all, I can see from this is the pileup of planets that you have in the fourth house, how important family is to you. You have your North Node here, though, which means that while this axis, the fourth, 10th house, means that family is innately something that is extraordinarily important to you, your fourth house is in Aries. So, what does that mean? Aries is the self, Aries is the one. So, there's something about the family that you're going to construct where it's done your own way, perhaps where it's done alone. But there is something about you sort of leading the charge to a family, and I do believe that you will have a form of family. I don't want to pronounce myself decidedly on what that looks like, and I'll explain to you why in a second. Um, but there is your sun is linked to that north node, so this is very important to you, and you will end up having to construct the family that you want done in the way that you want. And since you have the moon in Virgo here, that's going to be, it's a perfectionist moon, so things have to be just right all the time. And part of this north node may also be to learn how to let go a little bit on those expectations of perfection that sometimes you may just have to wing it, which is very Aries style. Now, I want to focus on a T square that you have, which is important. So you have this moon here at the top of your chart in Virgo, and it squares Chiron here in the seventh house. And then it's a wide opposition. I mean, it's not a wide opposition, it's a wide square, but you have Saturn there. So this is a tough T square. This is usually some sort of suppression of the emotions, like things may be very hard. Uh, you may feel kind of like life has been hard to you. And then this moon square Chiron, that's, and this is in your seventh house of partnership. So there is an original wound around partnership, perhaps with the mother, perhaps with other women. But this was likely what was activated in when you lost that baby, that there is a wounding around motherhood. And then that's in opposition. This is actually, a grand cross if you take also this Venus in Pisces, which Venus in Pisces gets pleasure out of healing, gets pleasure out of the spiritual. It's a very soft energy. And I can see why you connected with Herman, because his moon is exactly right there. So right now I want to tell you, oh no, one last transit. And then you have this North Node, which is transiting Cancer. So that's the fourth house issues. So we're going through this. However, it's in your eighth house, which is the house of death and taxes, So I might advise you to wait until, what is that, 10? Wait until the North Node is at 10 Cancer before trying again for a baby. When the North Node is in the eighth house, it brings up a lot of psychological issues. It can bring up issues of death, issues of inheritance. It can bring up things that from underneath the earth that are hidden. So I would wait. The North Node in Cancer is a great time to get pregnant. Also, you can see this is squaring your sun right now. So not the best. You're not at your most vital right now. You don't know what to do. You don't know which is the path forward. I would say wait until before you try again for any pregnancy with anyone. Wait until this North Node gets into your seventh house. I think that's a better omen. You also, as you can see here, you have this Saturn in Sagittarius, and Jupiter has been transiting Sagittarius in your first house. So this Jupiter, when it conjuncted here, which was not long ago, actually, would have caused this whole thing to set off, right? And actually this Jupiter transit is important for Herman as well. So now, remember, Jupiter is the bringer of good luck, of abundance. So whatever is lost here is tendentially for the best. Remember, sometimes our most painful moments in hindsight end up being the greatest gift that the universe can offer us. I know it's hard when you're dealing with the loss of a child. I had the same thing happen to me, so I completely empathize. I did get pregnant shortly thereafter, and I have the absolute most amazing daughter. And, I don't know what the other child would have been, but I wouldn't change anything. Let's put it that way. So let's look at his chart for a second. Now, again, as I said, I don't have his birth hour, so this is a little bit difficult to do, but I want to call up a couple of things, okay? And then I'll show you the two of your charts together. And then I want to show you the composite and give you one interesting note. Now, he has Jupiter, he has his Sun and Jupiter in opposition. Jupiter's retrograde, both in square to the North Node. Now, what this usually means is that there's a lot of indecision about the future, right? Because the North Node is where we're going, but the Sun is my vitality. So when those two are at odds, it's like the Sun wants to go in one direction, and that Sun in Leo wants to shine like crazy. Whereas and it's so close to that Mars too, so it's hypersexual energy, it's very dynamic, it's very go-getter, and with Leo, it's super fixed and super stubborn. So when this person wants to do something, you're never going to get them off that idea, especially with that Jupiter, like almost feeding it on, pulling at the strings on the other side. Now, both of these are square to a North Node in Taurus, which Taurus is concrete, slow, fixed. So the fixed energy is always there, but it's of the earth. No, it's more grounded. So you have the Sun in competition with the earth. And it's almost like where his his future wants to bring him, it's going to have to drag him kicking and screaming because he kind of wants to move in a different direction. How this can play out is indecision. He has this moon in Pisces, which, the moon in Pisces is super secretive. Doesn't like to tell the truth. Um, it doesn't like to hurt people either, which is why it doesn't like to tell painful truths. Um, and uh, well, okay, so one more thing. So you have this moon. So this moon kind of softens him up a little bit, right? Because he doesn't like to hurt people. And then he's also got this Venus in Cancer, which likes very feminine women, very the mother figure. So I can see where that, and your moon, or sorry, your Venus and his moon are conjunct. So that was a very deep connection. I can see it. And the way you are as a woman really goes deep to his heart, which is why I believe that there's absolutely no desire to intend to hurt you. And so what I think may have happened is that he may have known for a while that this wasn't necessarily something he wanted to, like the idea of having kids may have freaked him out a little bit. But he didn't want to share that. And so maybe started the affair. I don't know how long that was going on for. Um, and then everything blew up. Now, in January, when you said you found out, Jupiter was transiting his Uranus. So let me show you another thing he has here. He has Uranus square to the moon, square to Chiron. Now remember, you have a moon and Chiron square as well. So you echo that wound to him. Something about you energetically promises that you can heal this wound in him. However, at the same time, he is capable, since your moon is over here, of flipping it and inflicting the wound on you because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't know what's at the root of it. And so he will subconsciously play that out on the other side. Your moon here actually put the fourth leg in this T-square that he has. And so you would have felt like the missing link to him, the emotional missing link, and your very balanced emotional approach would have made that whole, because Uranus is extremely unpredictable. The moon in Pisces is super hard to pin down. And then Chiron's this kind of thing that lies in the background that we never really get a hold of. So you put a planet there and sort of anchored that whole thing so that it was calm. What happened? In January, as you said, Jupiter came along and blew up this thing here. Now, Uranus square the moon means that inexplicably, all of a sudden, you need a ton of emotional freedom. Just like you can't have anyone around you. And so he may have taken that situation, like he would never have told you he was cheating, but he would have taken the discovery of that situation as a get out of jail free card. And then once he sort of made his peace with not wanting it, not being able to go back to it. This Jupiter square, the node is also kind of like I make my own ethics. Moon in Pisces has its own ethical rule. Saturn in Scorpio, that whole generation is kind of funky about power and issues like that. So let me just go back here and show you two together for a second. Okay. Now I can see where you're on the outside, he's on the inside. I can see very well how he affects you. Honestly, there is less contact from your chart to his. So that bond on his side may have been, you know, this is very binding. Where are you? Where's your seventh house? Because I remember he put some planets in there also. Yes, he puts his Venus in your seventh house, so that's a very strong connection. Also puts his Chiron in there, so inevitably it's a partnership that may hurt you. Um, and then what is this the North Node? Yes. So his North Node is in your fifth house, which is the house of kids. So that will have felt like, and you know, I'm not saying it's not possible because North Node in Taurus in fifth house is kids. Um, so it's possible there is a future there. It will depend on his ability to navigate this square there. He needs to figure out what it is that he wants in his life in a concrete manner. And if he does some evolutionary work, it could come back. Right now, he may just be needing a ton of space to figure it out. Also because right now, you remember, there's all these planets in Pisces. There's Neptune right on top of your Venus and his moon. There is Venus there. There's Mercury there. So this is getting a lot of attention right now, and he may not know what's in his heart as long as Neptune is touching that. It's possible that when this transit ends, he may get a little bit more clarity. I can't promise you either way what's going to happen. I do want to show you one thing, though, that's very important. This is your composite chart. Now, again, we cannot look at the moon because it will change based on where his is. But you have your North Node, where did it go? Here at 28 Aries. Now, I want to show you what the Sabian symbol is for 28 Aries, because if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. Okay. A large disappointed audience. Now, I like to look at the sun and the North Node to get the vibe of a relationship. And when the North Node is at a degree that says a large disappointed audience, it says to me that there may be tremendous amounts of hope for this, but that on some level, it's always going to leave you disappointed. Now, it may leave you disappointed because you've got that moon in Virgo, which tends to have a hard time being happy with anything. It needs to constantly reinvent. It may just leave you disappointed because he's just always going to let you down. So I'm going to stop here and take a look at the cards, and then I'll be back. Hey, Hazel. So in my astrology piece, I will have said that there's like really hard time getting things off the ground, and it was the exact same with this video. It's like even I had to press like record 15 times. So I feel like things may have always been frustrating for you, right? And anyway, so okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to do these cards to tell where you are on your path. A wisdom oracle card, and then some chakra healing cards, and then I'm going to do 3 for you and then 3 for him of the regular tarot, and we'll look at those at the situation, and then I'll take a look quickly at you alone for the next few months, what to deal with. So can I have one card please for Hazel and Herman and where they are currently on their relationship path? One card for Hazel and Herman and where they are on their relationship path right now as we speak. Today, April 4th, 2019. One card for Hazel and Herman. There we go. Okay, 2. Wide open and sacred pool. And I'll read these to you in a minute as we put them all down. Oracles, yes. Can I have one card for Hazel and Herman The wisdom for their relationship right now. Interesting. Can I have one card from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle for Hazel and Herman for the lesson that they are learning right now? Hazel and Herman, what lesson is there to be learned right now? Okay. Let's do tarot. I'll start with you. 3 cards for Hazel. God, it's frightening when they come out so precise, isn't it? Sorry, I have... oh, okay. 2 more cards, please, for Hazel. 2 more cards for Hazel for where she is right now in this relationship. 2 cards for Hazel. I don't read reversals, so if they come up reversed, my deck knows that. So that's why I flip them. 1 more card for Hazel, please. One more card for Hazel, please, for where she is in this relationship with Herman right now. I told you it was tough getting messages out of the charts too. Oh, jeez. Too much. Just 1 card. 1 card. All or nothing, huh? Either everything comes out or nothing comes out. There's way too many cards. 1, please. One card, please. Maybe that's just where you are, at the Hanged Man. Yeah, I'm gonna shuffle them one more time, but I think that might be just where you are. Okay, 1 more card for Hazel in this relationship. All right, fine, I'll take them off. I get it. Okay. You have a lot to say. Let's put it that way. You have a lot to say. And there are a lot of things going on in your mind. You know, this is right at the center of all those cards that came out that's underneath here. Let's do some cards for him. It's also possible, you know, that the deck wanted to get these out before I spoke about his cards. So, can I have 3 cards for Herman, please, in this relationship with Hazel right now? 3 cards for Herman. Okay. Secrets. 2 more cards, please. That's interesting that came out because the Sacred Pool. Yeah, and like I said, you remember there's that whole pileup of Neptune, of Pisces planets right now that are really kind of killing both of you from one point or another. It's all about his moon is drowning, like I said right now. 2 more cards for Herman, please. Okay. I think it's clear. But so let's read his side, okay? Because like I said, this is, the Pisces moon. You can't see those. Let me move them over. The Pisces moon, when it feels too much, goes just completely shuts down, right? Does anything else except for deal with, because it feels so tremendously. And with all that energy that's piled up on top of his moon, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I do feel like he's drowning right now. And there's nothing, as long as you're in, see, this is like a sea of blue and all these. So as long as you're drowning, you can't do anything. His emotional cup is flowing over, and you want to know. You're like, what are we doing? Are we moving here? Is this like, you want to know what the emotional story is. You want to know, are you coming back? What are your options? Because you want to end up here, and you're willing to forgive if you can get something, it's like, I'm willing to forgive and let's make this official. And that's really what's making you kind of crazy right now. Crazy in the good way, and you're confused. You're like, all right, let's pick it back up and move slowly. And you are wide open to the idea of a new beginning together. However, couple of things. So obviously the card at the bottom was, what lesson are you learning right now, is grief. And that's obviously where he is. So, and you see, it's like his side is so much more concise. These are three very clear cards, whereas you've got a lot going on, and a lot going on in your head, and stuff you want to say, stuff you want to know, but you're not going to get much out of this side for now. Let's read these to see if there's any hope for the future, or if this is even something that you want to hope for. Like I said, remember, sometimes the universe we like to hold on to things from our past because we're used to them and because we have an idea of what our future is supposed to look like. But every time I lost something that I deeply wanted, 4 years down the road, I was like, thank God. Like, I literally, this weekend, I was in New York, and I saw this guy that I had been in love with for 1,000 years when I was a kid. And I always thought that we would get married. And I saw him for the first time in like 15 years or something. And aside from the fact that I was like, I was just, had we gotten together, I would have broken up with him for sure. And talking to him in this moment, I realized that we had both just grown into such totally different places that it would never have worked. So, okay, so Sacred Pool. So we're going to read his side, okay? I'm counting this on this one. When you look into the mirror, do you like what you see? The Sacred Pool card asks that you focus on self-love and self-esteem. We are all works in progress, so a detached self-examination made with rigorous honesty is called for now. Reflect by the Sacred Pool and be at peace with yourself. Can you see how far you've come and how magical your life is? Do you notice the spark of the divine shining through your eyes? When you're conscious that you're the embodiment of spirit, it becomes easier to respect yourself and act in good conscience. Then you'll reap the rewards. Your unique service to the world is not only needed, but celebrated. See the love within you and know that if you cast it upon the waters, it will return to you tenfold. Be at peace, for you are beautiful and loved. Act with surety and confidence, and success shall be yours, whatever your inquiry. Okay, so he's digging deep. I think he's having a moment where he's really digging deep into the subconscious right now. Like he's in this moment of grief, he's going through some self-examination. Now, Leo, he's got all that Leo energy means that it's likely it will never come back to you. Like, he'll never tell you that he did wrong or that he's sorry. You know, they're just kind of like that. But he's not in a place where he can communicate right now. I mean, and he's not, this is where he is, right? And this is where you are. So really, neither one of you, and you know, these are kind of the bottom row here. So neither one of you is in a place to be jumping into things. It needs time. It needs time to dry off, first of all, because there's so much water here. And he needs time to understand what's in the cup, or if it's best here. Now let's read your wide open. Okay, you are free to express your uniqueness to the world and share in all the bounty of life's endless possibilities. All manner of opportunities are presented to you at this time. Wide open card is a signal that you're able to truly manifest your dreams and that your goals are in sight. Don't remain small and contracted. Instead, expand your horizons. There you go. Expand your horizons beyond what you believe to be your limitations. You have a unique voice that needs to be expressed in the world. The universe is supportive of new ideas and approaches at this time, so speak up and speak out. This card is the sign of the maverick who roams freely the wide open space of possibility. Allow for a greater vision to replace old ideas as you dream a grander dream. Okay, so you remember how when I was reading the astrology piece, I was saying that the Aries North Node and in the 4th house there is kind of like doing family your way and maybe breaking with tradition and doing things in a different way, figuring out a better balance and figuring out moving on with your emotional cup and seeing what other options are out there, because you've had this one cup for so long that actually maybe you're forgetting that there's many, many more, and someone who is essentially more suited to you. This card here just says that right now it's not going anywhere, that anything that happens will go around and around. Now I'll read this card to see the grief card to see if there's any other messages in there, but I think it's pretty clear. And then let's look at you alone. So Penelope meets Pickle the puppy when she is at college. They go through everything together. When the day comes, much later, for Mother Earth to call Pickle home, he dies in Penelope's arms. Her friends are hard on her, suggesting that she should just get over the pet's death. Penelope knows she loved Pickle deeply and is simply in grief. Loving Pickle was worth every moment of sadness. When she is ready, she will love again. Okay, so here it says, personal inquiry, is lingering grief preventing me from progress? What can I see in my heart? Now, you know, there is a very long process that's involved in grieving. When it is the death of a relationship, and also when it is the death of a child or of a pregnancy. So I think you both need time, right? It's a lot to absorb right now. It's only April. It happened in January, and that's not a lot of time. And there's so many other things to think about, you know, that I think you just need to take some time to just like kind of be. Let these feelings go away over time. He's not able to make a decision right now. And it's possible that with time you start to realize that this isn't your best option, you know, that maybe there's something more suited to you. Let me, as I said, let me look at the cards. Let's look at you alone now. So I'm so sorry for my voice. I don't even know what happened. This is the worst attack of allergies I've ever had in my entire life. It's terrible. So I'm going to shuffle these 5 times first. And one more. Yeah, that was 4. I saw the Emperor in there for half a second, so that's good. Can I get 3 cards for Hazel? From now looking forward, let's say the next 6 months, can I get 3 cards for her evolution for the next 6 months? Okay. 2. Okay. 1 more card. 1 more card for Hazel for the next 6 months. Ooh, okay. Or 3. 1 more or 3. Okay. Sorry, these messages keep coming in. So, okay. So this is interesting. Look at that. From the 8 to the 7 to the 6, right? So right now you're kind of overwhelmed. There's all this stuff flying at you and you're doing what you can to stay afloat. But as you get rid of some of these burdens, some of these wands, you'll start to feel better. And there is this moment of reflection, again, that carried forward, which, you know, that's a pretty good omen. So, you know, maybe you guys do get back together. Maybe after, or maybe you decide that it's best to move forward and find the 10 of Cups because you had something different, but there were 7. The last time we looked, there were 7, and you were looking for 2. Let's get some words from the other ones. So through the reduction, getting rid of some things, getting rid of these wands, I didn't ask yet, so I'm not taking it out. Can I have 1 card for Hazel for the next 6 months, please? 1 card for Hazel for her journey for the next 6 months. Slow and steady, upside down. We'll look at that in a sec. Also the 12, that's a 12. Can I have 1 card for Hazel for the lesson for the next 6 months? 1 card for Hazel for lessons for the next 6 months. Okay. Okay, this is a don't get in your own way card. Stop trying to make things happen so much that you end up actually not making them happen. This is crazy because this seems to be, there's a couple themes going on with us Aries right now. This is the 3rd reading that I've done for someone where it came out. So it's really about letting nature take its course right now, you know, and not trying to push through an agenda. That when things, whoa, I haven't asked yet. When things are ready, the dust will settle and you'll be able to move on. 2, see, echo, no, okay, so when the dust settles, you're able to move on. And you see, it's kind of interesting. We went from 8 wands to 6 wands. And here's the 2 wands that you use to kind of see things from a different perspective. So you use the wands that were coming at you to look at life differently and be able to see that 10 of Cups. Okay, to see how to get it, or to see that 10 of Cups in a new light. Like maybe that's part of your trying to make it happen your own way kind of thing, or figuring out what your own version of family is. Maybe that's where you have to spend some time looking at things differently. Okay, and then the Observer. I want to read this one. I know this one very well, but... Okay, so yeah. Oh, that is so insane. I swear to God, I love the tarot all the time. Okay, so this card, upside down, pushing things forward impulsively will not only prevent success, but potentially cause more trouble than you're prepared to handle. Moving too quickly will only yield unripe fruit with bitter taste. Slow down, breathe, meditate. You're not a human doing, you're a human being. Just be. Everything will work out if you can apply the brakes and become more aware of what's happening in this moment. A calm focus on the now, breathing in the beauty of your surroundings, will restore your power to consciously co-create your world. All fruits ripen in their own time. Which is the same story as this. If you don't believe me, I'm going to read it just because I love that stuff. Although I did tell the story before, so, but anyway. Okay. Reggie Rust is a guardian angel. One day, 2 friends, Clem and Craig, are dismayed to discover Reggie blocking their path through the mountains with no way to get around him. Wondering why Reggie wanted to stop them and not daring to try to pass, they take another route. Reggie then moves on, having protected Clem and Craig from a landslide ahead that would have claimed their lives. Okay. So actually this is a reroute, not an ending. The path is blocked and you are at an impasse, but the goal is still there. Do not wait for your present situation to change. Stay focused and find another path. That's clear. And underneath this one, I actually confused this card with another one, with the one where he blocks it. But this is getting in your own way in the sense of trying to push forward when victory's in another direction. So yeah, so these cards are saying that for the next 6 months, do not try and push this into being. Now let's read this last one here. And then I'm going to do one last card of guidance for you. Upside down. Okay. Ever think sometimes your life options are suction cupped to your face and you can't see beyond yourself? There's a big world out there, a multitude of potential realities that you're unable to perceive at present. So you're a little stuck. It's time to get advice from someone you trust, someone who has a better perspective on your circumstances. Other points of view are needed now before you move forward. Take heart. A beautiful vista is waiting for you to drink in. You just need a little help widening your scope beyond your small self. So I think the message is pretty clear, even from what we saw before, right? Is that you kind of had this idea of what you wanted to happen. The universe has stepped in and said no. What you are advised not to do is to try and push the situation forward. If it's going to happen, it will happen on its own, a very natural progression. In the meantime, you need to look at things from a different point of view. Maybe look at other options. That was also that 7 of Cups. Not necessarily in terms of romantic things, but also just different options of what's available to you. I would say one of those things like say yes to everything over the next 6 months. Just see where life wants to take you by being open to it. And then it's possible that through that development, through looking at life through a different lens, through shifting perspective, you finally see where this Ten of Cups lies. Hold on. Can I have one card for Hazel for some love advice for the next 6 months? One card for Hazel, love advice for the next 6 months. Let me turn on this one. One card for love advice for Hazel for the next 6 months. These are gigantic, these cards. Oh, there we go. There's a connection of love that defies explanation. So it looks like there's definitely something on the horizon. These two speak to each other. Just let things naturally unfold. Whatever is meant to be will be. Trust in that. Don't get in your own way. Don't insist in having your way. And let nature take its toll. Give yourself time to grieve. Look at life from a different lens. Evaluate how you could flip things on their head. You know, it's interesting that these are both upside down, you know. So maybe kind of turn upside down what you think is supposed to be, and leave yourself wide open, like that other card that we have before, to all opportunities. So like I said, say yes to everything over the next 6 months. See where life wants to take you. And be open to new perspectives on what your Ten of Cups looks like. Okay, thanks so much for ordering this reading. I know it went super long. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you soon.